Hey guys, today's Monday, September the 25th of 2023, and I want to go over the energy, dollar, and metal. So without any further delay, let's get into it. I have been MIA. Can you imagine that? I've been normally consistent posting videos at least every day, but I have been busy with some projects and I've been traveling, and finally I got home yesterday. So I'm trying to catch up. So what I'm going to do for this week, I'm going to do what I normally do within the dollar, energy, and metals, and then I'm going to end it there, and then I'm going to specifically focus on different sectors like natural gas, crude, the dollar, and then put out specific videos for those sectors in the uranium sector. So that's my goal for this week. So this one's going to be pretty short, like I normally do, and then about this week, within this week, I'm going to be putting out some videos of what I'm seeing and what are my thoughts on these markets. So let's start off with the uranium futures. As you can see, we're chugging along. We're in the bear camp and we are just pushing higher. We took out the Fukushima high somewhere around 65. We're already at 69. One of the 2 points of center of gravity is the 71 and the 77. Those are my two major targets. And then there's a 73 here if 71 holds and it just kind of pulls back, and then, could hit 73. And if 73 holds, pulls back, so find support at 71, then the ultimate target is 77. That's the center of gravity, one of Gann's theory. You reach the midpoint, you're halfway to the top. So look at it that way. This is the middle. We get there and we hold it, and you can pull back, whatever. But if we go back then test it and then fail, then that's not good. But if we go back and test it, find support and continue pushing higher, that is good. So, and that's what I'm looking forward to. So that's my thoughts on the uranium futures. You're above the 45 degree in regards to geometry, so you get a good, check mark there. The oscillators are good. MACD is positive. Although you're in the bear camp, I know this trader that's, he sent me a tweet like, hey, it's very overbought. But, one thing I learned from MSJ is that assume that the trend is going to continue going higher, and, don't put any expectations that it could stall. I mean, I have targets, but, as long as it's chucking along, that's positive. I don't see anything negative right here. Once we start, going sideways and maybe pulling back, that's different. But so far, there's a lot of strength. The only thing that concerned me here is the 7-year cycle that's approaching in November, maybe / December. That's the only thing that I'm watching for now. It may happen, may not, nothing may happen, but those are the things that I'm watching in regards to Gann's theory, which is totally different from like every other, theory that's out there using time cycles. So those are my thoughts on the uranium futures. Let's go to crude. So there's a few people asking me about crude. What's going on with crude? So, we're doing good. Weekly's positive. We're kind of chucking around the 33.3 Gann ratio of 89.17. We're somewhere around 89.36, just chopping around. Got a PPS sell signal, but typical correction to test this ratio, chopping around here back and forth. It's still in the mobile band, so it's positive, although you can see the momentum is losing steam. But so far, it's still positive. As long as we can hold that, and if it doesn't, it could pull back and maybe test this 37.5, 84. And maybe do another leg higher. But so far, it's looking good, even though there's a little weakness here. RBOB, on the other hand, and mind you, crude oil is not in a squeeze play. RBOB has been in a squeeze play and continues to be in a squeeze play throughout this whole, on the weekly chart. And we got this nasty sell-off, got this pop. Now we got a PPS sell signal. It looks like it may want to test 250, but if 250 holds, that could be a catalyst to even go higher, to at least test these highs right here, which is 277. But that, remains to be seen. But if this doesn't hold, obviously your target is going to be 241. And you can see that the weekly is losing a little steam here. No trigger to go short yet, but it's pulling back. And like I said, these are the levels you want to keep an eye to see if it holds, especially this one, the 250. In regards to natural gas, it's just kind of going sideways, which is healthy in a way. I guess trend traders don't like this, but it's not selling off, but it's not really going high. So it's just kind of going sideways. So there's going to be a breakout. What concerns me is we're losing a little steam here, which is typical. We're in a squeeze play, and it looks like it's just weakness. And we're just going back and forth until something gives. To either break to the upside, downside, or just continuing this chop fest. Heating oil, which was very surprising, broke this trend line, popped, and now it's kind of going, sideways, and we're finally getting a blue histogram of some weakness here. And on the daily, you get mixed signals here. There's a lot, PPS. So as of right now, it says a sell signal, and it's below the mobile bands, but it's hovering around the support of 326. So we got to see if this is going to hold. If it doesn't, it's going to test this trend line. And if it holds, it'll bounce back up. But we got to see the cycles. We got to see the geometry and everything and see where it kind of, where it's at. But so far, just by glancing and looking at this, this chart, it's in a strong up impulse wave up. So let's see if it's going to continue or there's going to be a correction coming. Let's go into the metal sector. Just pretty much chop fest on gold. There's a squeeze play still there. There was a squeeze play on the daily, and it looks like there's a signal to go short with your PPS sell signal. And if you were to do it, you need to close, have the daily close below 1936. And if that's the strategy, that's 1913 for a target. Maybe over here, this low, 1922. 1922 to 1913 target. Or 1900 on the weekly. So yeah, so far it's more on the weaker side within the weekly. And let's see where we close today. 1937, yeah. If it could hold 1936, that's good. In regards to silver, silver is in this triangle pattern, and it has to decide what it's going to do. Need to take out 22, 13. It could possibly test 19, but so far it's just kind of holding in there. And it got a PPS buy signal, and then it pulled back on the daily. So we'll see how that's going to play out. But so far it's in this triangle pattern. So I will kind of wait and see what is it going to do in regards to direction. But so far it's just kind of sideways. Copper, I shorted it here and got stopped out for a loss. I'm just waiting to see if this level is going to hold. So far it held here last week. This week, let's see if this is going to hold again. And we've been in a squeeze play on this one, and it looks like the pressure now is to the downside. As you can see, the red is a little more, longer here. And you got PPS sell signals on both time frames. And possible target could be that 362, which is this right here. And if that fails, your next one is going to be here, 354. The problem is that, if it hits it here, it's going to go back up and maybe test this, but it's already out of this triangular pattern. And, it could probably explode to the upside or, continue, pushing even lower. So it's kind of tricky trading this copper trade here. I'm just waiting for one that big flush comes in to maybe ride that wave. I thought it was going to be here, but it didn't play out for me. Palladium, 1180. And bounced, and it's just kind of going sideways here between 1346 and 1180. So I could probably test this again to see if this is a real low. But so far, it's in a squeeze play on the daily, and it's just been pretty choppy. So I would probably just wait on the sidelines on that one. Let's look at platinum. I am feeling much better, although I got back to Nashville and I'm feeling the allergies again, so I need to take my my Zyrtex and all that stuff. All right, let's see. Platinum. just kind of chop fest here. Nothing really interesting. Testing resistance. It's like, if I'm going to go long, it has to break above all these, at least 995. And if I'm going to go short, I need to at least break 882 for a target down here, 795. But so far, very choppy, very, very choppy. And maybe that's all due to the dollars. It's like the dollar's getting strength, but the gold and silver are not really selling off, which is interesting. Dollar's just pushing higher, and gold and silver is just kind of holding, just kind of going sideways, maybe waiting for some kind of event. And copper, still in this chop fest. But let's look at the dollar, because this is what I want to start. I've missed my charts, especially from my computer here at home. So far, looking good. Where are we at right now? We're hovering around 106, above 105.88. Is looking good. You above this one by one in regards to these swing pivots. And I had a target of 98, and that never, played out. But if we could stay above this 105.88, it's looking really good to possibly test some other levels up here, especially this 114. So the weekly cycle hits a trough around September 30th. Trough is the cycle goes like this, and then it starts going up. So somewhere around here, that'll be September 30th, and then this cycle goes up. And then there's a daily peak around November the 22nd. So maybe this thing got a head start and now wants to go there and start going up. Maybe till November. But, it could also be inverted, that this cycle went up, price action. And now that the cycle hits peak low, which is September 30th, maybe we hit a peak high and then pull back. So keep that in mind. It's double-minded, what I call it. It's like if it's going to invert and go down, it's going to probably do it within that cycle. So that's how I look at cycles, when it's inversions. But we don't know yet. So once September 30th hits, if there's not a turn or a spike down, or maybe a little correction, it continues going higher, then it's in full throttle. It looks like then it got a head start, before September 30th to run and maybe continue going and test this high. So everything is looking like it wants to test that high. As long as we can stay above this 105.88, that's going to be looking good. And if that plays out, it could be more pressure on the metals, but it's still, holding strong. It's just pretty choppy, man. And in the metal sector, very choppy. And if it starts getting Momo, maybe we could see things breaking down more. But so far, it's holding pretty well, but very choppy to kind of make money here, unless you're, scalping or, in and out every day, just getting what you could get. Well, I'm going to sign out, and I'll start focusing on my, specific videos like uranium, natural gas, crude, and the ones I'm covering here, and just kind of look at the cycles and just see where all of these are at, and then look at the geometry and see where there's an edge in this market and where things could possibly go. And that's it. And hopefully get back in the game of posting videos and keeping you up to speed and stuff like that. All right, well, I'm going to sign out. Man, I'm so tired. Been working straight for 2 weeks. Or at least a week, I think. All right. Peace.